Do you want to know who controls the world? In Masonic literature, Satan's title is Commander-in-Chief, and his lieutenant on Earth is titled the Inspector General. That's the director of the Central Intelligence Agency. And in that agency, you matriculate based on how well you value the concept of deception, and you're to never call it lying. Okay? Now, all of the kingdom, what did Christ say about money? He said, give to Caesar that which is Caesar's, give to God that which is God's. And when he was being tempted in the desert by Lucifer, he told Christ, I will give you all the kingdoms of the world. Yeah. All of these kingdoms that had no contact with one another started stamping the likeness of their leaders on precious metals. Everyone from Japan, China, all over the Middle East. Rome invented inflation when they started melting their silver denarii down to trick the Franks. They started mixing it with tin. That's how inflation came about. 50 pieces of silver is what Judas sold Christ to Pontius Pilate for. Now, money isn't the root of all evil. However, it is absolutely a creation of evil, and you are meant to think that this economy is a living thing on its own recognizance. No. When the Great Depression happened, many people got filthy rich off of it. When economies and civilizations collapse, that money has never got on a rocket ship and left the planet, ever. It gets transferred to people. It gets transferred, melted down, and put into other people's accounts, and those people still run the fucking world. And have you bickering and stuff. Look, so the Civil War in the United States, okay? Racism was an invention of people who weren't racists. They just think you're stupid and we should have you fighting amongst each other about frivolous things like race. It's all bullshit, right? And they have you guys fighting each other. You don't realize these things. Like in World War I, all of the leaders of those nations were first cousins. They had the same grandparents. Except for Woodrow Wilson, who's a 33rd degree Mason anyway. And they sent millions of young men into their slaughter. And guess what? Everyone was wearing uniforms with fucking names on them. And then in World War II, that was also a war for the sake of war. And even the Japanese had a 5-pointed star on their fucking hats. That was an entirely socialist war, by the way. We think of nationalists versus socialists. No, they were all socialists. And there's no real difference between fascists and socialists. Hence the fact that when Mussolini was put back in power by Hitler, they renamed the fascist party to the Black Socialist Party. Now, socialism is going to be pervasive everywhere. That's what the New World Order is. All of these statutes, all of the committees, the philosophies of the United Nations are inherently Marxist. And the new communism is to be imposed on you by crony capitalism, by corporatocracy. And you think there's these philosophical differences? No. It's all about subjugating you. Now, with money, this is what the fuck universal basic income is going to be. You are going to be allotted like $2,000 a month, but you're not allowed to save shit. None of it. But you are allowed to incur debt by borrowing more crypto from people like me who have those positions to lend. Now, we have a huge national debt. Who the fuck do we owe? Who does the government owe? Oh, we owe the people that are printing that fucking money. Money doesn't exist. It is evil. Warfare is evil. I mean, killing in war is not murder. However, as soon as we started making coins as a species, you know what we started doing? Making shields and spears and swords and lining up tens of thousands of young men with them sharp objects, make, model, and type, and having them run into another line of tens of thousands of young men. This isn't like inherent. This was taught to us by evil. And warfare has never changed because there's something ritualistic about murdering each other. Then, with the invention of, I mean, we laugh at Civil War movies, okay? Because they're, taking forever to load a musket. Like, that's because, and walking into musket volleys and artillery, that's because that only delayed what war was about, the hand-to-hand combat. It's about the butt of your rifle and the bayonet. And then the advent of fully automatic weapons really didn't change that much. It's pointless, senseless killing. Now, when Christ was exorcising a demon out of this guy, he's like, "Tell me your name, demon." What did the demon say? He said, "My name is Legion, and we are many." There is something inherently militaristic about the demonic. Now, as people, as human beings on this earth, in this realm, this is Satan's domain. We are bound to the rules of this game. We're bound to the laws of the simulation. Give to Caesar that which is Caesar's. Okay? Now, when these prosperity churches are telling, you're going to be very rich if you give me money. That's exactly what the Illuminati tells its members. Yep. See, when you join the Illuminati, you sign a couple contracts. Sometimes you're like forced into joining. It's not just a regular fraternity. I mean, at first you're like, no one takes this spiritual shit seriously. They absolutely do. And it's a fucking rude awakening when you realize everyone around you is for real participating in rituals, and that you are subject to these rituals. And it's part of a ritual to let you know what they're doing to you to get away with it. Predictive programming, all that stuff, blah, 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 Hollywood. It's everything. Now, all of the members of the Illuminati, there's millions of them. You have 2 sheets to your contract. The second one's like your address and all that shit, your registration. Your first one is an oath that you pledge at a ritual with a little white candle and a cup of wine. And you pledge your intellect and your life and then your soul to the advancement and well-being of humanity. And that's when they indoctrinate you into believing that we all need money. And money allows us to benefit the human race. And without this money, you have no power. Dude, they're gonna fucking bill you for air. Because you're anthropocene, you breathe out carbon dioxide. Never mind that trees need that shit. The greater good does not exist. It's evil. There's no such thing as a necessary evil. This is a battlefield for your soul. Live in the best interests of your soul.